Penguin Trek is the multi-launch family roller coaster at SeaWorld Orlando. This is the first and only ride of its kind from Bolliger Mabillard, with other manufacturers like Vekoma, Gerstlauer, and Intamin also offering similar products. Should more rides like Penguin Trek be built? Find out in this review. United Parks and SeaWorld have been on a roller coaster binge over the past decade. This was in response to backlash over their animal exhibits from the Blackfish documentary. SeaWorld Orlando has been a major beneficiary. After the opening of Pipeline in 2023, the park had 7 different roller coasters. But there was a major issue. Most of them were thrill coasters. Further, 5 of them have had 54-inch minimum height requirements. The average kid does not hit that mark until they're 10 years old. Beyond this, the park had a junior coaster in Super Grover's Boxcar Derby and a family coaster in Journey to Atlantis, but the latter was a water coaster. This limits its appeal on cooler days, if it's even open. The ride is often down for refurbishments in winter, so the park needed another family coaster. They received one in 2024 with Penguin Trek. This, interestingly, was built by Bolliger Mabillard, or B&M. SeaWorld has long had a great relationship with a Swiss manufacturer. The Orlando park specifically had built 4 separate roller coasters from them, but B&M made a name for themselves with their thrill coasters, not their family coasters. Through 2018, they had only built 2 family coasters, 2 smaller inverts at the Happy Valley parks in China. Flash forward to the 2020s, B&M has tried to become a bigger player in the family coaster market. Many parks have been focusing on smaller coasters post-pandemic. They had the perfect partner in the United Parks. They loved their products for their uptime, reliability, and quality, even if they cost a bit more. So they have since ordered a trio of family inverted coasters and Penguin Trek. The latter was a sit-down coaster at 2 launches. The ride is located in the Sea of Ice area. This icy realm was formerly known as Antarctica, which also happened to be the name of a trackless dark ride anchoring the land. I loved the ride system on that dark ride, and the final reveal of the Penguin exhibit was amazing, but the visuals during the rest of the ride were okay at best. The ride was short-lived, operating from just 2013 to 2020. The United Parks chose to purge their properties of dark rides once the pandemic started for cost-saving purposes. The coaster fittingly has icy white track and teal supports. You only get a limited view of this coaster from within the Sea of Ice areas. The rockwork blocks most of the elements. The best views occur outside the area, where you can get a full view of the twisted layout. There is very little theming during the main layout, but this coaster fortunately has a lot going for it in the queue and pre-launch sequence. Penguin Trek's entrance is located where the old Dark Ride's entrance was. The queue starts outdoors, but most of it is indoors through an Antarctic research base. It resembles a laboratory with an industrial feel, but it works given the theme. The walls are filled with different facts about penguins. Now, unfortunately, the smells in this part are a bit too authentic, as it smells like a penguin exhibit. This is not too surprising given how there is actually one next door, but at least there, you get to see the animals while you smell them, so keep that in mind if you're stuck in there for a while. You then have a staircase crossing over the load platform. The load platform is similar to the one in Arctic Rescue at SeaWorld San Diego. You once again have an industrial feel. There are corrugated metal walls with some Arctic-themed signs, and the unload platform is a series of cylindrical tanks and crates, some of which are smartly concealed loose article bins. This is refreshing after some of the chain's more recent coasters have banned bags in the queues, forcing guests to use paid lockers. Then some rides have not even allowed guests to store items like phones, wallets, or keys off to the side. Most days, you will have ample time to take in all the visuals. Ever since this coaster has opened, it has typically sported the longest wait in the park. Per QTimes.com, it has been hovering around the 30 to 45 minute mark most days. In my most recent weekend visit, Penguin Trek was posted as 60 to 75 minute wait for most of the day. Unlike some of B&M's other family coasters, this one does at least run with 2 trains. The trains do not hold a ton of people though. They are comprised of 9 rows of 2, seating a max of 18 riders per train. I am worried this ride will start running with one train in the future though. SeaWorld Orlando is notorious for doing this with their coasters as they get older. We've already seen this happen with Icebreaker and Pipeline, which opened in 2022 and 2023 respectively. If this happens with Penguin Trek, the queue will move even more slowly. I saw a few different crews during my visit. Some were quick, some were not, so operations were a mixed bag. The restraint check was typically quick once that started, since the lone restraint is a lap bar. There were sometimes delays getting to that point though. What are the best ways to avoid a long wait with this coaster? My biggest tip is to visit on a weekday during an off-peak period if you're able to. The key is to find a time of year when the kids are not on school vacation. If you visit on one of these days, most rides at SeaWorld have historically been walk-ons. I also recommend heading here early in the day. This ride does open with the park, unlike some others that have had delayed or staggered openings. When I rope dropped this attraction, I got a Zen ride. Most guests still seem to flood Manta at opening, because that ride's entrance is closest to the main entrance. While I did not personally try this, I believe you can also save a ton of time hopping in line right before park close. With most parks, queues drop towards the end of the night. This is particularly true for family rides like this one, especially on days with long operating hours. I tried to get over to this ride to get some evening footage, assuming it would be running past close, but they had already cleared the line out 15 minutes past close. If you visit on a particularly busy day, this ride is offered in the park's paid quick queue skip the line system, but it currently is a pricey one-time upcharge. This is what the United Parks typically do with their newest rides. I imagine it will switch to unlimited in the next year or two. If you have quick queue, you avoid the switchbacks. You still could have to wait a bit though. While there were not too many people with quick queue the day I visited, the attendant working the merge completely filled the staircase and station. I'm not sure if this is what the park has typically been doing, but when I used quick queue, it took about a half hour to board. Once you reach the load platform, you are welcome to wait for any row. I thought the forces, or lack thereof, were identical across the train. I slightly preferred the front for the unobstructed view. This is also a bit smoother. Now, is this ride rough? No. The front few rows are very smooth, but you'll feel a slight shake on the turns in the rear rows. It is perfectly tolerable in my opinion. Honestly, it is more noticeable audibly as you hear the train rattling for much of the ride. Again, while not a major issue, I do think it's fair to question why this ride is not glossy smooth though, when B&M has proven they can design major thrill coasters that are glass smooth. Just look at Mako in the same park. That ride definitely pulls more extreme forces, yet it tracks better than Penguin Trek. And this is something parks definitely need to consider when selecting a family coaster. B&Ms typically come at premium price points. Now maybe they've reduced some tolerances to save on costs at the expense of smoothness, but if family coasters from other manufacturers like Vekoma or Gerstlauer are cheaper and smoother, that could impact the popularity of this model going forwards. The restraints are identical to the other B&M family coasters that have been recently added in the United Parks chain. Riders are secured by overhead lap bars. The profiling on the restraint is comfortable. I did notice the seats felt a tad narrow relative to your average coaster though, but that is not too big of an issue for me or those with slender builds. This could cause some discomfort for larger guests or those with wider hips. Once secure, you roll forwards into an extended dark ride sequence. This was something I was not expecting when this coaster was announced. You move through an icy cavern. The detailing on the snow and rockwork is great. On the left, you have a screen with penguins jumping into the water. The music during this part is upbeat and pleasant. As you continue forwards, there's a sign warning of falling ice. The music intensifies, and you have a small dip downwards as strobes go off. The visuals in the next part are not overly clear that the ice is crumbling. If anything, I just continue to be amazed at the detailing on the cave, and it looks extra pretty with the blue and purple hues. But the ominous music suggests you are still in danger. As you approach the end of the cave, the LSMs fire, blasting you outside. The launch briefly starts on flat ground. but a majority of it is on an incline, so it ends up having a decent kick, especially for a family coaster. This is the most intense part of the ride by far. There also is a surprise head chopper. It sneaks up on you because it is obscured by the tunnel and the outdoor sunlight. This is the first of several head choppers. This leads to an L-shaped turnaround. No airtime, and I'll bury the hatchet now. You will not get any airtime anywhere in this coaster. That was a bummer because so many family coasters nowadays dabble in that department. The L-shaped hill does offer some minor lateral hang time at the apex, at least due to the banking. And it has some fun visuals as you cross over the pathway to the rest of the layout. Next is the cutely named uphill flip-flop. What exactly is it? It is an S-hill with a trick track element at the top. Visually, it looks cool. No force, but it flows nicely. And the exit has yet another head chopper. You then have a drawn-out bunny hill. The apex has another head chopper, but otherwise, no force once again. This leads to a far turn with some light positive Gs. Then you swoop to the right, narrowly avoiding some supports. Next is a gradual S-hill. This is the closest the ride comes to offering airtime, feeling similar to the hills in Vekoma's family coasters like Big Bear Mountain. Then it transitions directly into a spiral with another dose of light positive Gs. The train then hits launch 2. This is flat, but it offers an okay punch. This leads to a large turnaround. This rides a max height of 65 feet or 20 meters, and I believe this is potentially where that occurs. You take it rather slowly in the back, so you get some solid lateral hang time there. The pullout then offers not one, but 2 different head choppers. Next is a curved hill to the left. It is super shallow, but it too offers 2 different head choppers, one in the ascent and one in the descent. You then rise upwards and gently twist into the brakes. Now this is a pretty long brake run. It first crosses over the pathway, then it curves and runs alongside the unthemed side of the station building. Then you curve inside for the final holding brake. As this happens, you have a triumphant tune playing signifying your safe return to the base. You then park in the station, ending the 3,020 foot or 920 meter long coaster. This is a nice length for a family coaster. But the experience is not over yet. You see, you cannot simply exit this attraction. You must enter the penguin exhibit. I've heard there potentially could be a queue to do this, especially since you do not have to ride the coaster to access the exhibit. So this whole exit process could take up to 15 minutes during busier periods. Fortunately, I did not have to wait. You are routed towards the old pre-show area for the dark ride. Then you are badged into an acclimation chamber to provide a buffer for the cold penguin habitat. You then enter the penguin exhibit, which is amazing. I have no problem spending time in here because I love penguins. There are way too many to count as they waddle about the ice, jump into the water, and swim right on past you. But I can see how this would be annoying if you want to marathon the attraction, or if you're in a rush to get somewhere. If you just want to exit, it can be slow working your way through the narrow exhibit. You'll have to squeeze past a lot of people. Then, you have another acclimation room before being admitted into a lobby. From there, you can pass through a gift shop to finally return to the midway. If you ride this attraction very early in the morning, the exhibit should be completely clear, so it's possible to exit this attraction in 2 or 3 minutes, but that is the fastest possible scenario. I am surprised that SeaWorld did not build this attraction with a bypass route. I am guessing that space was at a premium though because they were working with a pre-existing building. What would I rate Penguin Trek? I would give this coaster a 6 out of 10. This is a decent family coaster. If you prioritize visuals, you will enjoy this attraction between the lengthy dark ride sequence at the start and all those head choppers. It would have been nice if there was some more theming during the main layout though. I also appreciate how the layout is flowy and comfortable, but outside the launches, which are solid, the ride has minimal force even by family coaster standards. If the hills had been profiled to offer some airtime, even just a mild floater, it would have really rounded out the experience. Still, This filled a very important niche at SeaWorld Orlando. It gave the park a much-needed family coaster with a 42-inch height requirement. But should B&M build more sit-down family coasters? And will parks ask B&M to build more of these? That part is debatable. As I noted earlier, B&Ms are typically more expensive than products from other manufacturers. So when you consider that other companies can offer family coasters that are a bit smoother and more dynamic, with lower minimum height requirements, I am not sure how many parks will be requesting a ride like this. I would love if B&M could iterate on the concept further, but right now, their family inverts seem to be their most popular family coaster option. Those are my thoughts on Penguin Trek at SeaWorld Orlando. What are your thoughts on this coaster? How do you think it compares to the other family coasters out there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.